Jared Bellard from District 5 to lead us in prayer, and ask Councilman Lewis to lead us in the pledge.
Lord, you have trusted us as stewards of this parish. Please guide our hearts as we make decisions. May we also be mindful of our service and seek you first in all that we do. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Bellard. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Happy New Year to everyone here this evening. Happy New Year to the staff, the council, administration, and media, and attorneys and all. Yes, indeed. Can't forget those. All right, we welcome you to the City Parish Council meeting. We, as your representatives in the Lafayette Consolidated Government, welcome your involvement and encourage your participation. This meeting is a public hearing. If you wish to address the council on any item on this agenda, please fill out the request form in the foyer on the computer that is provided. The request to address the council form must be filled out and submitted prior to the call of the agenda item, or you will not be given the opportunity to speak. If assistance is needed with submitting the request, we do have staff that is available and willing to help you. If you have materials you wish to submit to the council, please give those to Ms. Williams prior to the call of the agenda item. In an effort to allow everyone an opportunity to be heard, the 5-minute rule will be in effect. Speakers shall refrain from debating, personal attacks, and from making confrontational or derogatory comments. I'm requesting that the first row to my left be used for media only. Lastly, food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium, and we ask that all cell phone and electronic devices be silenced from this point moving forward. I am also requesting that anyone who approaches the council, please state your name and title for the official record. Meeting procedures are by resolution, not by Robert's Rules of Order. Documents, including the agenda, ordinances, resolutions, and minutes related to this meeting, are posted online at LafayetteLA.gov or referred to the web address on the top of the agenda. The council encourages your involvement and participation by volunteering for boards and commissions. If you're interested in finding out which board may suit your interests, we ask that you call 291-8800 or pick up a pamphlet at the door. All right, we'll move right along to election of officers, and at this time I'd like to ask Ms. Cindy to read.
Election of Chair and Vice Chair in accordance with Section 2-07F of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government Home Rule Charter and Resolution 3/2017.
Okay, we need a nomination for the 2019 Council Chair, and Councilman Castile.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Boudreau.
We have a nomination for Councilman Boudreau. Ms. Cook.
I'd like to nominate Councilman Bellard.
Okay, Councilman Bellard has been nominated. No, not seeing any other nominations at this time, so the vote will be Boudreau or Bellard. Please call the vote.
District 1,
Boudreau.
District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5, District 6, District 7, District 8, District 9, Jared Bellard is the 2019 Council Chair.
All right. Congratulations, Mr. Bellard. And at this time, I will go ahead and turn it over to you, sir, for you to do the Vice Chair. And thank you very much.
Congratulations, Chair. We'll now take nominations for Vice Chair. Ms. Cook.
I would like to nominate Councilman Lewis.
Seeing no other nominations, call the vote, please.
District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5,
Lewis.
District 6, District 7, District 8, District 9, District 1, Lewis is the 2019 Council Vice Chair.
Y'all can switch since y'all up already.
Just stay with, just. That's good.
I would suggest you guys stay in your seats, other than the chair, because your votes for the rest of the night, because we got to go into the system and change it all. So outside of the chair. Thank you.
New chair announcements. I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Dr. Sinead Nelson, Director of Community Development. She will be celebrating on January 13th. Also, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Sherry LeBlanc, Council Administrative Secretary. She'll be celebrating on January 14th. I would like to remind all that 2 other meetings will follow this meeting for an LPPA meeting and a rural fire meeting. Council announcements. Ms. Cook?
Yes, I would just have an announcement. I'd like to announce that I, along with LUS, will be holding a District 7 Town Hall meeting to provide the public with general information on LUS. The meeting is scheduled for Thursday, January 24th at 6 p.m. at the Le Pavillon in the park, and it's aimed at simply informing citizens on LUS topics such as the operations of LUS, the future of the electric system, customer engagement opportunities, and future projects. The public will, again, have an opportunity to speak at this meeting, and I do encourage that if you have questions, if there are questions the public has that you would like to submit before the meeting to make sure that we have the answers for you at the meeting, you can submit those questions to the council office. You can email them to me at NanetteCook@LaFayetteLA.gov. Any way you want to get them to the council office so that we can have those questions ahead of time would be helpful. Again, it's Thursday, January 24th at the Le Pavillon Restaurant at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Now move to the Executive Mayor President's Report. Mr. Robideau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item is the budget to actual comparison. Laurie, do you mind addressing that?
That is the monthly budget to actual comparison that we are required to furnish you and report in the minutes of the council meeting. It's the monthly report.
And then also, it's not on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, I apologize, but I'd like to bring up Ms. Elberson, if she's here, to come and talk to you guys about Lafayette Reads Together, a program by the library. You'll see at your seats a book that is this year's book. So, Ms. Elberson, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Teresa Elberson, Library Director, and I'm pleased to announce the start of our 2019 Lafayette Reads Together. It's a community-wide reading program. This year, we are again working with the Lafayette Parish school system to encourage everyone to read Finding Gobi by Dion Leonard. This is an inspirational true story of an ultramarathon runner, Dion Leonard, and he connected to a little dog that adopted him as he ran across the Gobi Desert in a marathon race in China. The story is one of love and determination as Dion works tirelessly to find a way to give the stray dog a forever home with him in Edinburgh, Scotland. We have lots of activities planned around the book involving Chinese culture, dogs, and running. The Library Foundation donated copies of the book. I think we have 1,000 copies to give away free. We will start giving those books out at all the library locations on January the 14th, next Monday. We also expect a visit from the author. He's flying in from Edinburgh on Tuesday, January the 29th to autograph books and just talk about Gobi, the little dog. So we ask that everybody pick up a book, read the audio book, or download the book or the audio book, and join us as we read. And y'all got copies. If you read them and pass them on to your friends and neighbors, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Call.
Mr. Robideau, prior to the meeting, you and I had discussed the outcome of a meeting that you had with legal regarding Bird and Lime, the electronic scooters in Lafayette. Could you give us an update on that, please?
Sure. We had reached out to the folks at both of those companies, Bird and Lime, to talk to them about some of our concerns. I had legal with me because ultimately I think it'll be a determination from those guys as to what direction we take. We also have reached out to the Department of Transportation Secretary, Secretary Wilson, as it relates to state law that exists. We have word that they're going to introduce statewide legislation to more clearly define where these scooters fall into state law. There was, for instance, Segways is probably the best example of where the state went in and said, these are a very specific type of motorized vehicle, and we need to account for them in the state statute. And so they'll be working on that. But what we do in the interim is what we're trying to figure out now. And so, legal, the administration, the secretary and his legal staff are trying to figure out what the next steps are. But it's something that's going to be coming soon, just because we feel like we need to get those answers out there to know beginning between now and any legislation that happens, how do we handle this? Is it a local ordinance allowed? Is it not allowed? Can it be more restrictive, less restrictive than state statute? And getting the answers to all those things is what we're working towards.
And what is the timeline on the next legislative session?
So the session starts in the spring, typically March. It'll go from March till the end of May. Legislation can pass, at any point during that process. It then goes to the governor's desk for him to sign into law. So technically, I guess, if it was something that the Department of Transportation felt like needed to rush through, it could be passed early in the session on the governor's desk and signed into law in late May, early mid-June, something like that. So that interim period, though, is what we really need to figure out.
With no certainty attached to that on the legislative side, we should not feel comfortable in waiting for that. So in the interim, will you, as the administration, would you be pushing for a local ordinance?
Yeah, we will. I haven't gotten to the point where I think legal's ready for me to present something to the council because they're not convinced that, as state statute is written, that there's clarity in the law as to what it allows us to do. I know other communities throughout the country have done local ordinances, so we're looking at each of those specifically to see what they did in order to satisfy what we're looking to satisfy here. So yes, I believe it's going to be one of two solutions. We're either going to have to wait for them to be allowed, or we're going to present something locally that dictates how they're used.
And just to be very clear on the issue, people want something done now. That's not going to happen. Even if we go local, it would be at least 2 months before we would have anything in place, and that's with a great deal of optimism. So we're not looking at anything between January and February.
Yeah, an intro ordinance for the 22nd meeting to be a final ordinance at the first meeting of February would be the absolute soonest, but in order for it to be introed, I think Wednesday's my deadline,
Yes,
meaning
that's
tomorrow.
what I was about to say.
Unless the council's, said if you can have it to us in a couple days, this is important enough that we'd like to get that done. But yes, so you're looking at late February, possibly prior to that, before there actually would be a vote taking place on a local ordinance.
And the deadlines are earlier because of the Martin Luther King holiday, and the advertiser, all of their deadlines moved up too.
Okay, I was not aware of that. I had a resolution I was going to place on the agenda, so I
think y'all have a little longer period than I do.
Well, it's Thursday at noon. The regular deadline is Friday at noon.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Robideau. And Mr. Terrio and I discussed prior to the meeting also. I think he has more questions than I. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Terrio?
Yes, thank you, sir. Mr. Robideau, I don't know if you or legal may have an answer to this question, but in the event that somebody is injured from one of these vehicles, whether it be running into them or having an automobile vehicle or a truck running into one of them, who or where would they go to contact somebody in reference to this?
Yeah, so I'll take a stab at it just because I had exhaustive meetings with legal, so I feel like I have a legal degree now. But Paul can certainly chime in at any point in time. The answer is it depends. So so if it's a huge, huh? I'm a quick study.
I want to talk to Mr. Escott, never mind.
Oh, he'll agree with it depends. But if it's a pothole issue, if it's a clear, issue with LCG, then it's really less about the scooters and more about the underlying cause. As it relates to scooters, they sell motorized electric scooters at Academy. If somebody's riding them around their house and there's an accident, the law is not specifically clear that that's our responsibility to know where and when everybody's riding the scooters that they may or may not own or that they may just be leasing. And so there's a lot that goes into where the liability lies, but rest assured we're aware of that. Certainly, I'm not interested, as I don't think anyone on the council is interested in having LCG at risk. And so that's why we're moving as fast as possible to come to some conclusions and move forward.
And I appreciate that. I think in order to kind of scan down a little more, I think the question that was maybe proposed to me was that if somebody was walking down the sidewalk and one of the scooters came up from behind them and not hearing them because they're so quiet, an individual moves to the left and one runs into them. And if there's an injury, at that point, should they have to contact the company of those individuals, the scooters?
Well, now I'm taking off my lawyer hat and I'm going to be in the business. I can promise you everyone's going to be contacted at that point, including the scooter, LCG, the business that it happened in front of. That's just the nature of litigation today, unfortunately. But yes, I mean, those are all legitimate questions that will exist now and will exist even if there's state legislation that passes and we permit it and go through whatever process we go through. A lot of those types of questions don't disappear.
Okay, very good. In addition, kind of, excuse me, going off subject, I know you had mentioned DOTD earlier, and if I can kind of tag along on that, I've been getting a number of phone calls, and believe it or not, I actually reached out to a number of automobile mechanic repair locations. If you go down Ambassador Caffrey or Khali Saloom, everybody knows they have what's called cement dividers that are in the middle of the two lanes to prevent people from turning either left or right in certain locations. Especially at night and in a rain, those dividers are very, very hard to see. And in getting with some of the mechanic shops, they're saying that they're seeing a substantial increase in vehicles that are having a lot of undercarriage damage to their vehicles because they're hitting these when they're going down the road, daytime, nighttime, but especially in the rain or things like that. Is there something that you might be able to also ask them about that, if they can paint them brighter colors, or are they absolutely needed?
Yeah, I have a meeting with the secretary on Friday of this week, if I recall, so I will make sure and bring that up also. I'm very familiar with what you're talking about, so
Thank you
I will
so
make
much.
sure and bring that up too.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it, Mr. Robideau?
But yes, that's it from my report.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the meeting of resolutions. Cindy, please read.
Resolution 1, 2019, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council commending all organizations of the area planning celebrations in recognition of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
Motion by Councilman Lewis. Oh. Second by Councilwoman Cook. Council discussion. Councilman Boudreaux.
Did you put it? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to share with the members and the administration, you've been provided with a schedule of activities that will begin on Saturday, January the 19th, and go through Monday, January the 21st. As in the past, I want to acknowledge the fact that there are a number of actual LCG employees who have volunteered for the last 30-plus years to make these events possible in and around the Lafayette community. We know that it's a day off, but some have chosen to make it a day on and a service day of volunteering. So there's going to be a number of media releases to follow, and as I indicated, everyone was provided with an agenda of events and activities that will be going on throughout the weekend. Feel free to contact Chairperson Gerald Boudreau or members Veronica Williams, Chief Robert Benoit, myself, and there are other people who are listed. If you have any questions, I want to make a personal invite to all members to come out and enjoy all of the events. This year, the parade marshal for the Martin Luther King Holiday Parade is going to be Greg Davis as he celebrates his retirement from the Lafayette Cajun Dome. In addition to that, the speaker this year is the Honorable Mark Moriel, who's currently president and CEO of the National Urban League, so that should be a treat in itself. All activities are free to the public. Children activities, school is out on that day as well. We invite and encourage parents to bring their kids out to participate in some organized children activities as well. So again, if there are any questions, you could follow up with any member. If you need additional information or if you would like any printed information, just reach out and we could get that to you. And again, I thank the council for supporting this resolution historically over the years. Thank you.
Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7, District 8, District 9, District 1, District 2. The motion is approved. Resolution 2, 2019, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council adopting a Louisiana compliance questionnaire as a required part of Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government's annual financial and compliance audit.
Motion by Councilman Conk, second by Councilman Nakhan. Any council discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7, District 8, District 9, District 1, District 2, District 3. The motion is approved. Resolution 3, 2019, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council approving the budget of revenues and expenditures of the Acadiana Criminalistics Laboratory for fiscal year 2019.
Motion by Councilman Conk, second by Councilman Nakhan. Any council discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9, District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4. The motion is approved. Resolution 4, 2019, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the submission of an application to the Dopelet Family Trail Development Fund for a community support grant.
Motion by Councilwoman Cook, second by Councilman Lewis. Council discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9, District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4, District 5.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
We'll now move to ordinances for final adoption. Cindy, please read.
Ordinance 183, 2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending Chapter 70 of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government Code of Ordinances relative to the issuance of permits to peddlers, solicitors, and door-to-door vendors during Festival International.
Need a motion by Councilman Nakhan, second by Councilman Terrio. Legal has a proposed amendment to substitute a revised ordinance. I will now go to legal. Mr. Escott?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just a brief explanation as to why we have a red line that has both red and green language in it. If you recall, the original ordinance, when it was introduced, had the attachment to the proposed changes to Chapter 70 in a red line with, obviously, the red line changes. Between introduction and final, I think there was one deferral. It's now back up for final because there were some additional revisions to be made to Chapter 70. So to be able to differentiate between those that were already introduced, those are in red in terms of what that went with the original ordinance at introduction, and the green language is simply additional revisions that we're offering as an amendment that would then be as a total package, all of the changes to Chapter 70 related to the peddler's permit.
Okay, before getting a motion in second, I have some people on the board. Councilman Boudreaux.
I can speak after.
Okay. All right, Mr. Terrio, can you speak after two? I need a motion and a second on the proposed amendment. Motion by Mr. Boudreaux and second by Councilman Nakhan. Councilman Boudreaux, you have the floor. I'm sorry, do we call the vote on that? Not yet.
It's council
Any
discussion.
public discussion on the
Yeah, a
amendment?
council discussion first.
Council discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Boudreaux, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Are you going to handle the entire thing, Paul?
Actually, I've got several. I've got Ms. Curry, who actually
Yes.
did the drafting for me.
Right. Kevin, if you would, just...
And for the record, her name is Catherine Curry. She's an assistant city parish attorney.
Yes. So, Catherine, thank you, and thank you for our call on yesterday. Members, some of you may have remembered when this issue first came up, I had asked that we take our time and look at this closely because there were some concerns as it relates to downtown businesses and the impact it has. So, Catherine, what I would like you to do is just very briefly, as you did for me on yesterday, share with the members some of the cleanup that took place to clarify for those individuals who have businesses downtown, how they are still protected versus, in particular, out-of-town peddlers, vendors, people coming in for a short time to make money during festival time.
Right. So after our discussion where Councilman Boudreaux brought up his concern, and I'll use your specific example you brought up just for clarity. A downtown business owner who, say, during Festival International wanted to, say it's a restaurant, wanted to extend their food sales and sell their gumbo out in their parking lot. Mr. Boudreaux's concern was we don't want to stop that from happening. The amendments to this ordinance do not turn that business into a peddler just because they may relocate some of their sales to a different spot on their business premises. And so that hasn't been an issue in the past. There isn't, as far as I know, and we spoke to someone at LUS today who issued the permits prior to November 1st. And there isn't a permit that a business would get if they were to decide to just extend their sales to the parking lot, for example, as long as it's, adjacent and on their business premises. So the amendment doesn't add that. It doesn't create a requirement that they do any sort of permitting for that, and it doesn't make them or classify them as a peddler just because they may move outside. And so, and I think that was your biggest concern,
Right.
was this clarification creating some unintended purpose, which
Right.
it doesn't do. A lot of the clarifications, especially the green ones, were done mainly to streamline the chapter. There were a lot of different definitions that all kind of meant the same exact thing. And so while we were in there addressing your concern, we wanted to just clean it up. And so that's a lot of the removal of the term solicitor, because the solicitor and the peddler were subject to the same requirements, so it really didn't make sense to have both as defined terms. And it just, the amendments aim to make it easier for someone who's applying for a permit and also for LCG employees who have to issue the permits.
Right. So, and I thank you. I think it was a good body of work. So, as she indicated, there are some restaurants downtown who have adjacent parking lots. Some, once you leave their facility, you're immediately in a public space. And there was some concern as to how they would be classified and what they would be subject to. My defense of them was, and I used it then and I'll just share it again, is that, we often talk about taxes here in government, and sometimes sales and retail sales and whatnot are down. And what I didn't think would be good is if we were punishing someone who paid ad valorem taxes throughout the year, whether their business is doing well or not. And then when an opportunity to possibly do some recouping or have some high points, that they would then classify it with someone else. And I think my reading of this and the explanation does not do that. They will still need to be permitted through festival, and that is one of the things that made this unique and somewhat of a concern, because as a government, we have chosen to turn over that process to Festival International. So it leaves the hand. Whenever we take things out of the hand of those of us who are elected, hired, and appointed, it takes away some of the abilities for people with concerns or complaints to have that body to go to. And in this instance, like downtown parks and things, we've kind of turned that operation over so that influence kind of goes away at times. So again, I appreciate the body of work, Catherine, that you all have done. I will be supporting this. I'm thankful that you all took the time, and I think we got it right. In the event that we just have a square peg and a round hole, I don't think we need to be afraid to come back and revisit, though. At no time should we do anything that negatively impacts a local business owner when we are trying to protect our communities from folks coming in to capitalize on our events. And that's my position. So thank you very much again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Terrio.
Quick question. Now, I don't know if you're going to be the one that'll answer this, but, and V, you might need to follow up on it too, but do we happen to know, here we have an issuance of permits to peddlers, solicitors, and door-to-door vendors for the festival timeframe. Do we know how many permits we issued last year?
As far as I know, I believe the answer to that is 0, but I do not know that 100% for a fact. I'm not aware that we issued any last year.
And I think that might be misleading in the sense of when festival, if you're talking about within the term or time of festival, I believe most vendors that would ultimately, or that would normally get a permit from LCG, apply to Festival International and go through their internal permitting process.
Gotcha.
That we allow sort of to supplant ours because they are within the boundaries of the Festival International. So to say 0 would, yes, that's probably true for LCG, but there's, as you know, numerous vendors that would have.
That's what I was trying to
Right,
get at, and which
right.
prompts my second question is that.
Scott Feehan would have that information, I would believe, who
I
is
got
the
you.
chairman of the festival.
Okay, and I may do that. I think somebody mentioned, Liz just mentioned he might be here, but what this prompted the next question was that how many violations have we issued for those peddlers, solicitors, and door-to-door vendors that did not have a permit? And if any, because we do know that happens at festival time, Mardi Gras time, so do we have any numbers on that? Is Mr. Freehan here? Do you have any of that information available?
Sir, can you please come to the front and identify yourself? Thank you.
And forgive me, I know I'm kind of putting you guys on the spot. I was just having a discussion with somebody this afternoon. I said, look, I don't know how to answer you. Maybe I can, present this tonight when it's coming up. So.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Scott Feehan. I'm the director of Festival International. So this conversation has been going on for several years. 2 years ago was when it really exploded on everybody. There were several vendors who had popped up in local parking lots from out of town with 0 permits, neither from us or the city. So on the Friday afternoon of Festival International, we ended up in a situation where we had myself, several other people with Festival meeting with LPD, as well as Public Works. I think Lowell was involved too. We got into an issue where we were trying to figure out where city property stopped. One of the parking lots we actually had insured, but the property owner wasn't involved, so it was a big mess. And like I said, because they didn't have permits, we ended up in a situation where the police were ready to shut them down, and there were 15 vendors in this lot. So we ended up making the decision to say, look, let's just get through this year. We're not going to shut them down. And that particular vendor said, look, let's get through this year. We won't do it again. Well, this year it happened again, and they were going to be doing the same scenario. So it's a sticky situation in the heat of festival when nobody knows, who's permitting who and what regulations we're playing by.
And that's why what prompted the question is I had one vendor who was out there permitted or had permission to be out there and was following the rules, but we're aware of other individuals that were not. So the question is that why do some have to follow the rules and others do not in this instance? In addition, y'all do have an area of influence where this can happen and it can't happen, correct?
Correct.
Now, is this provided to the public? Public has, anybody thinking of going out and do this based on what they say, the peddlers, solicitors, and door-to-doors?
But the documentation that I saw, I believe, spelled it out clearly where the
There's an
area is.
exhibit to the ordinance, Exhibit A, which defines the boundaries.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. But how does the public, somebody from outside, we as elected officials and and government knows about it, but how is this put forth to the general public?
Well, and that was one of the issues we've had up until now, and it's my understanding that it's addressed in this, proposal, so that now the public would have access to it.
And so if a person, say I wanted to be a vendor, not through festival, but I wanted to peddle my goods downtown during festival, if I go to LCG, assuming that these were to pass, if I went to LCG and said I want to apply for a peddler's permit, you have to, on the permit, say where you're going to be located. And so if it's within that boundary, then LCG will not issue that peddler that permit. Now, if they say I want to go somewhere on the south side, that's unaffected by this.
Got you. I guess my main thing is just in the festival area of influence, and I'm not going to drag this out, is that how does the general public, those that are interested in doing this, have access to the information, but they have to go to your website or LCG's website or the festival's website in order to see that. Is that correct?
Yes, and I guess what I was going to say is we've always worked closely with the city in whatever way made sense. So if it makes sense for us to have this posted on our site, because we do have a spot for people to apply to become vendors for us, and there are a lot of last-minute applications, so we'd certainly be happy to have this posted. It would actually make our lives easier as well.
Okay, very good. Guys, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Lewis.
Yes, I believe a permit is $125, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it
$125.
is. Yes.
But my question, I know you used the example of a food sale, the vendor or someone that has a business downtown, they will actually expanding on the outdoors. Does that pertains to liquor as well, if they want to sell liquor in their establishment? Can they also sell the liquor without getting a special permit, or?
Whether or not they can sell certain alcohol would be defined by their alcohol permit. It wouldn't be defined by the peddler's permit, or even there's another option for restaurants and retail businesses to extend out onto sidewalks. That's in Chapter 78. And so even it's mentioned in that chapter, if you extend out on your sidewalk, you have to have certain permitting to be able to sell your alcohol that your alcohol permit for your restaurant may cover. And so it's not a separate sort of permit or anything like that. It would be whether or not under your alcohol permit, you're able to do that.
So I guess the answer to my question would be it all depends on the type of license or permit that you do have.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Seeing no more questions from the council, Ms. Williams, any public comment on the amendment?
No, sir.
Let's call for the vote on the amendment only.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9, District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5,
Yes.
District 6. The motion to amend is approved.
Any council discussion on the ordinance as amended? Seeing none, Ms. Williams, any public comment on the ordinance as amended?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 7, District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4, District 5,
Yes.
District 6. The motion to adopt as amended is approved. Ordinance 215-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell at an internet auction miscellaneous surplus LCG movable property which are no longer needed for public purposes as per the attached list auction.
Need a motion and a second? Motion by Councilman Terrio. Second by Councilwoman Cook. Any council discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4, District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7. The motion is approved. Ordinance 216-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell at a public auction surplus vehicles, equipment, and other miscellaneous movable property which are no longer needed for public purposes as per the attached list auction.
Motion and a second? Motion by Councilman Terrio. Second by Councilwoman Cook. Any council discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4, District 5,
Yes.
District 6, District 7, District 8. The motion is approved. Ordinance 217-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending certain provisions of Chapter 94 of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government Code of Ordinances to accommodate the establishment of the formal Communications Division of the Utilities Department as the Communications System Department.
Motion by Councilman Conk. Second by Councilwoman Nanette Cook. Council discussion. Seeing none. Councilman Terrio.
Couple of few questions. Who do we have that's going to address this tonight that has a question on them? Is it Mr. Robideau? Would that be you guys?
Your mic's hot.
Give it a shot.
Yep.
Ms. Aber just said you're an attorney, so you're able to speak on this, so.
Depends.
Gotcha. Just a couple of quick questions that you can provide to us on this, and maybe to some in the public. Fiber's been a part of LUS since its inception. We all know that. Were not the voters and bondholders led to believe that fiber would be backed by LUS? Will it continue to be so in this instance?
Yes.
So
It's part of LCG, and that's an important fact to establish. It was a full division of LUS Utilities, LUS as a whole, and operated solely under LUS as a division, and now it's going to operate solely as its own department. Still part of LCG, owned by the city and the taxpayers.
And backed by LUS, like you mentioned, 100%.
That's right. None of the bond covenants, none of that stuff has changed.
Okay, so we do know that fiber still owes a substantial amount of money to LUS. I think the total amount now is somewhere around 28 million. And we have assurances, and the voters have assurances that fiber is going to continue to repay that debt, even with this passing.
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's a good question. I didn't know how to answer this. Somebody asked me. Will fiber be under the governing authority of the LPUA or LCG after this passes?
It will be under, I think, the same authority that it was under before, but I'll defer to the legal counsel on that. It came up at the LPUA meeting, so if Mike or Paul wants to address that.
Yeah, go ahead. Just for the record, obviously, we're doing this for the record. Michael Aber is the Assistant City Parish Attorney. He is the individual that actually drafted the amendments to the chapter that's the subject of this ordinance.
It's all on you, Mike.
Feel the pressure. The LPUA will not be the governing authority of the Communications System Department. It is only the governing authority of the Utilities Department, and now that this is not a division of the Utilities Department, it will not be the governing authority of LPUA. However, just for reference, In the new charter, which will take effect, that part of the charter will take effect January 6th of 2020. The new Lafayette City Council will be the governing authority of the Communications System Department, the same as it is the governing authority of the utilities system. Right. That is established in the new charter.
In 2020, when
yes.
it takes its...
Correct.
Okay. While you're up here, and Mr. Robideau, I guess, who's going to approve the director of fiber, or will the director be accountable to the mayor like most directors other than the LUS director?
Yeah, and I'm not sure it's just the LUS director. I know that the engineer of record and the LPUA have to approve the appointment of the LUS utilities director. It seems like there's another one that requires a step beyond, the legal. My choice of who the city attorney is also requires approval. But yes, this would be treated just like every other director. It would be appointed by the mayor president's office.
Okay. As you mentioned on you appointing the communications director, the council itself, again, just to clarify, is not going to have any vote on that. You're going to appoint that? That would be appointed just by you and will not come before the council?
I think it's just like every other department
right.
in LCG.
That's right.
So I guess the question I have is that if we're doing this now, now let me take a step back. Why are we doing this now and not waiting to do this when the new charter takes effect?
We did this in September. The
split,
the split was done. So if there's a misconception about what you're doing tonight, it's in that we're not splitting LUS and LUS Fiber tonight. That was done back in September when we did the budget. We presented an organizational chart. It was discussed and voted on. So that's been done. What we're doing tonight, this ordinance is simply, and I don't want to in any way sound like I'm minimizing it, but there's reams of paper that is part of our code of ordinances, and in that it refers to a director making the decision for utilities. And now that the department has been established with a director, we need to clean up that language to specify where it's the utilities director making those decisions and where it's the communications or fiber director making those decisions. And that's what this ordinance is doing, is clarifying that there are two separate directors now. And so when we talk about utilities or LUS, we need to delineate between, is this LUS utilities director or is this the LUS communications department director?
I see. And if you don't mind me asking, I mean, I'm assuming once this is approved tonight, what kind of time frame are you looking at, sir?
Yeah, well, whether it's approved tonight or not is like I said, this ordinance is for clarification purposes, and I think it would make the lawyers really happy if it passed tonight because it cleans up language in the ordinances that are unclear. As it relates to the director's hire, as you know, Celeste Freeman is currently serving as the interim director. I feel like she's doing a great job. HR gives me, I forget, a certain period of time for her to serve in that interim role. We are working to try to establish the qualifications and what we want out of that position at the existing salary level. At some point, we will have, more clearly identified what we think that role is going to look like and what we think that salary should be. We'll open it up to the public. If no one applies, then that may suggest that the salary is not enough. If we get a lot of good applications, we'll go through the process just like I would for any other director's position and hire someone from that pool of candidates.
All right, Mr. Rubidoux, thank you so much. That's all I have for now.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Hebert, when the new charter in 2020 takes effect, would it still stay under the mayor president's director? Nothing would change?
That will not change. Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Cone.
And Mr. Abear, a question that was raised during LPUA, there's a third party involved in all of this. That's the Public Service Commission. What role do they play? And will it continue to be what it was, or does that change?
Yes, as I mentioned at the LPUA meeting, the role of the Public Service Commission is established by state law, and so that role does not change to the extent that they have any authority or supervision over LUS Fiber's operations. Now that would continue exactly the same way, unaffected, either by the split that was done in September, or by this ordinance, or by the charter change.
And that would continue under the new Lafayette City Council?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Seeing no other council discussions, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do have one speaker who signed in, Andy Abear.
Mr. Abear?
Happy New Year. My name's Andy Abear. I'm trying to understand the process and how it works. So I noticed y'all had two ordinances, one by the LPUA and one by the City Parish Council, duplicating this split of fiber from the city. So if I understand correctly, if LPUA failed in passing this and y'all passed it, it would not pass. And if LPUA passed it and y'all failed it, it would not pass. And if LPUA had no ordinance and y'all passed this, would it pass? No. Just want to understand, because I'm trying to find the ordinance. Well, what's interesting is that it took two ordinances, a city parish and an LPUA ordinance, to split the governing authority, to split the city of Lafayette's asset. And what you're doing is you're disposing of the asset of the City of Lafayette Utility Department. And I believe according to your charter, the LPUA has to call an election by the registered voters of the City of Lafayette only in order to dispose of any assets of the City of Lafayette. It's in the charter. And so I noticed that it says, in reference to paying bills, this is what struck me. Purpose of accepting payments will be construed to mean the City of Lafayette Utilities Department. Now, the Communication Department will be construed to mean the Communication System Department. It doesn't say City of Lafayette Communication Department. So I'd like to know who's going to be the owner, or who is this owner that you set up that now owns fiber in the September ordinance? Is it the City of Lafayette? Is it the LPUA? Who owns it? So I think it's funny that y'all talk about this future problem. So why are you doing it now? Well, if they're not on the LUS, that means we can outsource to somebody like Bernhard to be the communications management company, because they're no longer LUS on the LPUA. That would be an interesting theory. Maybe so, maybe not. But I'm still trying to find the ordinances and resolutions calling an election to change the governing authority of the Lafayette public utility system. And I can't find it. And I know y'all just agreed with me that it takes two ordinances, one by LPUA and one by the city parish, to make it effective. So it is my contention that changing the governing authority to this new home rule charter is illegal on the content that the city Lafayette Public Utility Authority did not hold anything to dispose of its utility system, just like you're doing now. So I think you need to go back to the drawing board table this, do whatever you need to do. But this isn't legal. I promise you. From what I can see. And I think the public out there, they're going to start seeing it too. And they're going to hold you accountable for any actions you take. Have a happy new year.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Terrio?
Mr. Escott, Mr. Hebert brings up a couple of questions. I guess in doing with what we have here, in that when fiber came aboard, it was voted on by the residents, the city residents of Lafayette only. So is or was there any need for the public to vote on splitting fiber from LUS?
What was done in September was a reorganization of a department, which is spelled out in the charter. That was approved by the council and done appropriately.
Okay, so the voters did not have to vote in order to separate fiber from LUS and make it its own department?
No, sir.
Okay. And if you don't mind, I think he mentioned something about there not being a corresponding ordinance to separate the LPUA under the home rule charter, and that if you could look into that, or if there was something.
I think the provisions of the charter were followed in the reorganization procedure, and that does not require corresponding LPUA ordinance to do so. I mean, I'll double check, but sort of catching me cold.
Right, I understand. But he was correct, because I was nodding with him. If we have corresponding ordinances and the LPUA passes one and the full council fails to pass it, it doesn't pass, and vice versa.
That's correct. That's on the issue related to the potential gray area between shared responsibilities between the council and LPUA.
Okay, I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, right. I'm not commenting on that. I guess my point was that there's a particular provision in the charter that talks about the reorganization of departments, and those procedures were followed when we did that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Escott.
Councilman Conk?
With approval of this ordinance, are we disposing of any assets?
There is absolutely no change in ownership at all related to this particular ordinance and the revisions of the chapter.
And when it comes to ownership, that is the city of Lafayette, which owns the utility system, and by extension, the fiber division, correct?
The current status of ownership remains unchanged before and after the passage of this ordinance.
Which is the city of Lafayette.
Correct.
And then finally, if there was any attempt to do a third-party management contract, as suggested by Mr. Hebert, that would require approval of the council, correct? Currently City Parish Council, future City Council. A contract.
Sure. If the council hadn't already approved some line item budget that was within the scope of that particular project, absent that, which they don't have, that would require council approval.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Seeing no other discussion, please call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9. The motion is approved. Ordinance 218-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell at an internet auction miscellaneous surplus LCG movable property which is no longer needed for public purposes as per the attached list auction.
Motion and a second, please. Motion by Councilman Nakane. Second by Ms. Cook. Council discussion, seeing none. Ms. Williams, any public comment? Please call for the vote.
District 2, District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes.
The motion is approved. Ordinance 222-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to reclassify the property of Mona Hammond Ekanza, case number ZON 2018-0027, 1153 Tolson Road rezoning, located generally on the north corner of Tolson Road and Bonet Road, the particular parcel being rezoned from residential single-family to commercial mixed.
Need a motion and a second? Motion by Ms. Cook. Second by Ms. Liz Webb-Abear. Seeing no council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comment? Please call the vote.
District 3, District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6, District 7, District 8, District 9, District 1,
Yes.
District 2. The motion is approved. Ordinance 223-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council approving a conditional use permit to allow a restaurant in a mixed-use neighborhood zoning district, case number ZON 2018-0028, 618 East University Avenue, conditional use permit, located generally on the west corner of West Taft Street and East University Avenue.
Motion and a second? Motion by Councilwoman Cook. Second by Councilman Lewis. No council discussion. Ms. Williams, any public comment?
Yes, sir. For this item and the previous item, we had Angie Barlow who signed in, but she did not wish to speak, but supports both items.
Thank you. Please call the vote.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5, District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9, District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3. The motion is approved. Ordinance 224-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish
My apologies, Mr. Chair. William Baxter signed in to speak on item 16. I'm so sorry.
I just wanted to sign in case y'all had any questions or anything. That's all. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Cindy.
Ordinance 224-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to reclassify the property of Jacob Landry, case number ZON 2018-0030, 305 Ellis Street rezoning, located generally south of Ellis Street, west of Carl Street, and north of Rayburn Street, the particular parcel being rezoned from commercial heavy to residential mixed.
Motion by Councilman Comp. Second by Councilman Nakhan. Seeing no council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir, no public comment.
Please call for the vote.
I'm sure. Oh. Okay. Okay, you could come forward. Oh, no, you could come
Ma'am,
to
can
the
you please
mic.
approach the podium and state your name for the record?
And I'll get with her, staff will get with her on signing in for future meetings.
I'm Janelle Pease Ducray, and I do apologize for my lapse. I just wanted to say hello, and I've sent emails to most of you. If you got them, I don't know. But I feel like I've learned a lot about government in the process. This is my first time to speak before anybody such as yours. And so I'm just thankful for your leadership. And I wish it had gone the other way, but I'll probably go the other way. But my slogan was, I do not want more noise, more traffic, and more loss of peace of mind. And that's what I talked to my fellow residents in the Bertrand Villa subdivision. And I had not met most of them before. It's a mixed neighborhood. And I will be talking to them more in the future. As I said, it's been an education. And I do wish all of y'all good luck in the future elections.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for.
So she's opposed, is it? Does she want, she's opposed to it?
Please call the vote.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3, District 4. The motion is approved. Ordinance 225-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to reclassify the property of Delta Ridge Ranch LLC, case number ZON 2018-0031, 251 South Gentilly Road, rezoning, located generally east of South Gentilly Road, north of I-10 West, and south of Renault Drive. The particular parcel being rezoned from commercial heavy to industrial light.
Motion by Councilman Nakhan. Second by Councilman Conk. Seeing no council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comments?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5.
Yes.
The motion is approved. Ordinance 226-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 1819 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by budgeting a $9,943.47 overtime grant from the United States Marshal Services and a contribution from the Lafayette City Marshal's Office of $1,287.68 for associated retirement costs.
Motion was by Councilman Conk, second by Councilman Nakhan. Seeing no council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comments?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3,
Yes.
District 4, District 5,
Yes.
District 6.
Yes.
The motion is approved. Ordinance 227-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 1819 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the use of prior year fund balance in the amount of $4,650 and appropriating within the office of the Chief Administrative Officer, Juvenile Detention Division, to promote one juvenile detention attendant, one position for an apprenticeship step increase.
Motion and a second. Motion by Councilwoman Cook, second by Councilman Nakhan. Seeing no council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comments?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9, District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6, District 7. The motion is approved. Ordinance 228-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 1819 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by adjusting line items in the amount of $50,000 within the Lafayette Police Department.
Motion and a second. Motion by Councilman Boudreaux, second by Councilman Terrio. Seeing no council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comments?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 9,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3,
Yes.
District 4, District 5,
Yes.
District 6, District 7, District 8. The motion is approved. Ordinance 229-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 1819 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing revenues in the amount of $9,943.47 received from U.S. Department of Justice, United States Marshal Service, and appropriating within the Lafayette Police Department.
Motion by Councilman Terrio, second by Councilwoman Hebert. Seeing no council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comments?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6, District 7, District 8, District 9. The motion is approved. Ordinance 230-2018, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 1819 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the modification of replacement marked vehicles line item from 15 to 30 within the Lafayette Police Department.
Motion and a second. Motion by Councilman Cook, second by Councilwoman Abear. Councilman Terrio, you have the floor.
Real quick, and maybe include Ms. Toops. I think she could probably answer this. If not, I can get the chief. Just one quick question. We're showing a modification of the replacement amount from 15 to 30. Why are we doubling it?
The chief could give you specifics, but in summary, I can tell you that he budgeted for SUVs, and through a change in circumstances with the additional school resource officers, they decided to purchase automobiles instead of SUVs. That way they could increase the quantity and put more on the road.
Which the automobiles are a lot less expensive than the SUVs.
Yes, sir.
Got you. Okay, guys, thank you so much. That's all I have.
Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Please call for the vote.
District 2, District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7, District 8, District 9, District 1. The motion is approved.
We'll now move to appeals. Cindy, please read.
Appeal of the decision by the Office of Alcohol and Noise Control for Upgrade Your Smoke LLC Oasis Hookah Lounge, located at 111 Mimosa Place, Lafayette, Louisiana, August 26, 2018.
Somebody from Development and Planning to the podium to explain to the council.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sally Leger, manager with Alcohol and Noise Control. This particular business was cited 3 times in less than a 60-day period. There was the first violation that happened was on July 16th of 2018, and they paid their fine for the violations. Then again on August the 26th, all 3 of these dates were for the same violations, which were no designated manager on the property at the time, remaining open after hours. They were supposed to, one occasion, they were supposed to close at 2 a.m. At 3 a.m., they still had several people inside of the business, 10 to 20 people, and I have it all written down to go through it if you like. The other time, they were supposed to close at 2 a.m. and they were open at 2:45. On the very first occasion was on a Sunday night, Monday morning. They were supposed to close at midnight. At 12:32, they still had people in the business. And there was still music going. It was still everything was going on. The person that was working, not only was that person not a designated manager, that person did not have a bar card either. So there was no one there with management abilities for the business. This is the 3rd occasion. The first time, like I said, the total fine was $1,750, which was paid. For the second violation on August the 26th, for the 3 violations, it was $500 for each offense, for a total of $1,500. And then it being the 3rd offense, especially within a 60-day period, there was a suspension 1 day for each violation, which is a total of 3 days.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Terrio.
Mr. Escott, hopefully you can follow me, but based on the verbiage that we're looking at on the screen here, I want to make a motion to deny the appeal. Would that be correct?
Yeah, are we taking each violation up one at a time, or is this one item with 3 violations?
It's one item with 3 violations.
Okay, all right, then the motion to deny the appeal would result in the violations staying or remaining
What I'm
in
looking
place.
at.
Right.
Yep, I make a motion to deny the appeals.
So Councilman Terrio has a motion to deny the appeal. Councilman Conk has the second. Any more council discussion? Councilman Nakane.
So, who is appealing this? We are, or?
No, sir. My understanding is that it's the actual permittee or the owner of the bar, or the Smoke LLC
Okay.
/ Oasis Hookah Lounge.
The hookah lounge. So basically denying the appeal
Right. They are coming to the council.
upholds what our fines are.
That's
Okay,
correct.
just want to be clear.
That's correct. So a yes vote to the motion would uphold the director's decision because you're denying the appeal. That the motion was to deny the appeal. So yes denies the appeal, no doesn't deny the appeal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. Seeing no other council discussion, Ms. Williams, any public comments?
Mr. Chair, we do have one speaker, Farah Geith. Guy, I'm sorry. It's spelled G-H-I-E-T-H, so not as.
Good evening. My name is Farah Geith. I'm representing the Mr. Geith as well on this. I understand that there were 3 violations. The first one was for July 16th. The second one was for August 26th. The third one was for 9/13. I did want to note that this business has been here since 2014 without any problems. Mr. Geith did hire as a manager a woman by the name of Ms. Whitley. Since all these altercations, there was an informal hearing held on September 19th, 2018, in which we were informed of the problems of the violations, and we definitely remedied them. Mr. Geith actually did terminate Ms. Whitley, who was the manager who was present. He terminated her immediately. We have had no problems since. Actually, upon her termination, Ms. Whitley did actually forge some checks from Mr. Geith, took some checks from the business. So it's not so much a violation on the business owner, but the hearing actually happened on the 19th. And after the hearing, you know, we have remedied it, but these violation dates, they were in such a short period of time that he really didn't have any time to remedy it before the hearing. So as soon as Mr. Geith got the notices, as soon as he got the violations, they said that he has to pay a $500 fine, and then he has to have a 3-day suspension. But we found this out on the 19th of September